Welcome everyone to the Rockingham Select Board regular meeting. It's Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. It's now 6:03. Location is on Zoom and we are in the lower theater in the town hall. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda for routine administrative matters and or pressing matters that will require ratification at a future meeting? Have any?
None.
I think, so we might be confused about how item number 1 got added to our agenda. I apologize for having you two here. We don't believe that falls under a town. It'd be a village ordinance for the any parade. So we think that would just need to go in front of the trustees.
So yes, and I will check in with both of you and put you on the next agenda for the village trustees. Even though they had a meeting today, it's a separate, special meeting. You'll be on the next agenda for the regular meeting.
Do you have a sense for what date that might be?
What's the date?
Tuesday the 9th.
Okay. All right, that'll work.
Yeah, they should have plenty of time still, right?
Well, as I'm hopeful that it won't be all that tricky or controversial. So our planning for graduation does kind of hinge on this, but you know, if 9th is the next time they meet, then that's fine. And
I wish I had a better answer for you, but typically that's village. You know, the alumni parade is, so that's not our it's not our role either. So
okay.
I don't know if they could meet before the 9th, but maybe perhaps we could see if they can. So because there's a lot pending on their decision, correct?
Well, we are crafting an outside the box graduation plan, and so there's a lot that goes into it. Certainly, we hope that it would be approved. I don't think that it will disrupt the operations of the village of Bellows Falls too terribly on that one evening. I think that actually the town will probably like it. So
Absolutely.
I'm optimistic that it won't be all that tricky and that it'll pass.
Great. Okay, so
right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thanks.
Congratulations to everyone in the class of 2020.
We will pass that along.
All right.
Thanks.
So we're going to strike that from the agenda, and we need to add a executive session at the end to discuss employment. Shannon? Oh, you're here. It says Shannon. Okay, anything else? All right, we need to approve the minutes from May 5th, 2020 meeting.
Okay, I move to approve the minutes of the May 5th, 2020 meeting of the Select Board.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the May 5th, 2020 Select Board meeting. All those in favor would signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Where's Peter?
869-3229 maybe?
I think that's him muted.
Hold on, let me check that.
Sorry about that.
Rings a bell anyways.
He muted himself though.
Peter, are you unmuted? Can you unmute yourself?
Oh, that is him. Okay, I'll unmute him.
I tried doing it and it won't connect me.
We got you now. We can hear you.
Okay.
I thought you were
That's why I had
there.
to use, that's why I had to use the phone. I vote aye on that, the minute.
Thank you. Sorry about that, and I didn't know if you had any more input on item 1, but I did the best I could there.
By the
Okay,
way, you're not on TV either, so.
that's okay.
Yeah, I think there. I just want to let you know.
We're actually, okay. Thank you. I don't know. Gary, Everett, Sue, do you see us? Well,
Yes.
we're not on TV. I got you.
Not on fact.
So Fact TV, I hope they can hear us and maybe they'll push a couple buttons.
You're all on chat though.
Okay, so we approve the minutes. Public comment on items not on the agenda. It'll be 3 minutes per person. Don't see anyone on there. Yes, sir.
My name is Bob DeRusha. I am a village resident. Now I gotta straighten this all out and cut it down quickly and what's left of my mind. I'm concerned about the terminations in town hall. I'm concerned about the choices when I see a 25-plus-year-old tenured employee leaving. That's a concern. She carries a lot of history with her. So, but I don't want to get into that. I don't agree with the decision, but I want to get into is how they happen. I feel that I looked and I saw no actions of the board considering anything like this. So, and then I spoke to a couple of board members. They would seem not aware of this. I don't feel that any individual, including the chair, has a right to go to the town manager and give this kind of instruction without the board being aware. That's a serious issue for me as a voter. Been around government for a few years here too. This makes me uncomfortable. The whole thing, and Chuck has told me that he's putting substantial amounts of effort and energy into doing the best he can to help take care of people who are leaving. It's not the point. The point is going forward. Are we going to kind of try to change the culture of Rockingham, Bellows Falls? Are we going to go on with the way it's been? I think honestly that we should probably reconsider whether we want a manager form of government. Why do you think managers don't last? Because they don't get to do their jobs is my answer. Period. And I think that question is brought up, and there's enough people have enough to say. People will reconsider this. Maybe we should be a city and have a mayor. I haven't got the answer. I only have some questions. That's all I have to say. And by the way, I want to thank Peter Golek. I understand, although I can't see him, is with us there. Peter has consistently, in his years on the board, respected the actions of the voters. And that's not always easy. But once the vote happens at town meeting, Peter Golek has stood behind that. That's important to me as an individual. Hear me, Peter, if you're there, thank you.
Yeah, I heard you, Bob. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Managers report.
I have nothing to report right now. I am giving reports to the select board and trustees every day. I will do that for the time being, especially as I take over and changes are made. If there are any questions of those dailies, you can raise them at the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the agenda. So are we renumbering these or just going to the first one being number 2?
First one, number 2.
Okay, so number 1's been scratched. We'll move on to the first item on the agenda. Public Works, Everett Hammond.
Muted, Everett.
Muted, Everett. We can't hear you.
Okay, go.
There you
I
go.
was at the window. I got some noise coming in the window. Hang on.
Looks like he's up on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, I could have been down there, but I choose to be a 3rd floor, so I think people can hear better if anybody watching. Okay. Okay, so I went out there. Andy was there. Myself, Mike Griffin. This is up on the wall site visit. Jane Ryan, Ellen Podersky. Jane and Ellen, they're part of the estate of the property. I think it's maybe 19. No, I'm not sure. The number 1 Blake Street, I believe. I'm not sure the number, but they're the ones that own the house up beyond the leaning wall. So they're all in favor. The whole estate is in favor of replacing this wall. It is leaning. I had Debo shoot it earlier today. And previous to that, back in 4 years ago, he had shot it. And then he shot it again last spring. So it's actually moved 4 inches, 0.4 inches for the last from 2016 to 2019, so a period of 3 years. It did not move according to his shot over the last year during construction. But on the other hand, there's not like a pinpoint corner of that wall either. So there's a little variable there, you know, are they shooting the exact same corner? So but anyway, the gist is the wall is moving. You know, probably maybe an inch per year on the top of the wall, and the more years that do go by, you know, the acceleration will continue. Having said that, you know, then again, it may stay there for another 10 years without moving. You know, I did talk to a structural engineer a number of years ago. I said, when do you know if a wall is going to fail? He said, it's basically a crapshoot. No one really knows when it's going to fail, but eventually it will fail. So with the closeout of this project, you know, and then recently found out that this wall is in the town right away. It'd be nice if we could actually finish this wall up and be done with this section of road all the way up through there, so that it doesn't collapse during the middle of winter or even fall down on a car or someone walking by along the edge of the road. So I did. You all have the packet. The estimate I've got in here is $80,000. The town portion, because the town would actually act like GC, or at least I would myself, at least while I'm still here, to get this thing moving. That's roughly $20,000. That's for cutting the wall, reinforcement, concrete, crushing or crushed stone, topsoil, seed, and mulch. And we'd use there is a cost for the granular backfill in the pit, but we would use that pit. I did not count a cost in there. Theoretically, yes, there's a cost. We do not have to pay for it. It's our own material. And then my recommendation is to use the same concrete sub work that Basin's used over on Cherry Hill Wall. That's Mike Pilo. He's done an excellent job on that wall, and actually we negotiated a lower price, much lower price than the Cherry Hill Wall. A lot of that being is the Cherry Hill Wall is a very complex, very, very complicated, you know, with that steep slope project. This one is not nowhere near as complex as that. So his cost would be $36,000. And then the earthwork bid that I received 4 bids. I put them out on Friday for quick bid. Adams Truck and Excavating, that's $19,500. John Carvino, $21,840. Basin Brothers, $23,125. Tom Call, $26,780. So they're right in the range of what I had estimated for the $24,000. So in essence, what I would recommend, and I would recommend this is a good time to do this wall. As far as the funding, on the back of the memo, I had $60,000 from Burt Blake Park Street project and $20,000 from the FY20 highway budget. To be conservative, I would actually, you know, the project's not done yet. There'll be a roughly estimated $50,000 from Burt Blake Park, and take the remaining out of the FY20 highway budget. Talking to Shannon earlier, there will be funds available for the remainder of that. And it doesn't quite equal $80,000. What I would recommend is proceed forward on this to the stop sign, not going up the driveway. So station 88, if you believe, if you go out there and look at it, you'll see 88 on the pavement. That's just before their driveway, probably 3 or 4 feet. That's about the point where the wall starts going out of the right of way. So at that point, if they would like to improve that, you know, and Jane talked about maybe they would, that if they want to go around the corner and improve that, make a wider driveway, that's something they can consider, the owners. So my recommendation would be to proceed forward with this with a cost of $80,000 estimated. The town cost $20,000. Mike Pilo, $36,000. Earthwork by Adams Truck and Excavating, $19,500. That was a lump sum, just by the way, on the $19,500. So that should come up to probably $85,500. I did not add it up, but $75,500. I would recommend holding within a budget of $80,000 in case for any kind of contingencies. And one thing I did not estimate, one of the things we do need to consider is some type of fence up on top of the wall, just to prevent somebody from falling over. And that could be done after.
Can I have a question?
Yep.
Yeah, but did we, this is the wall is in the town right away. Don't have a problem with getting it fixed, but do we know who actually installed that wall? Was it the owner to put that in, or was it the town?
Yeah, Pete, that's a good question. My guess would be, and it is different theories, because that same questions I've heard in other towns. My guess would be the road was probably narrower at one point, and then it went to the width it's at. And to do that, they probably had to put the wall in, meaning the town, pushing it back within the right of way. No, Stephen Podersky, I heard, has passed away, and I'm not sure if he would even have known the answer.
Right, and the only thing I think is if the town gave him permission, because it's in the town right away, to install a wall to hold his lawn back or the ground, which would mean that some of the burden might be on the landowner. I don't know. I'm not trying to put it there, but that could involve a title search or looking at his deed and find out when that was done or whatever, and then see if we can find anything prior to 60. You're never going to find it in the select board minutes because I can't find them in the vault downstairs. So God help us on that, but
Right. Mr. Chairman, the correction on that too would be Stephen Bobrowski.
Oh, did I pronounce it wrong?
I believe you did. I think
Okay. What did I say? Did I say Podersky?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Right, Bobrowski. That's correct.
Right.
And it's Podersky. Is Ellen is his daughter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions? I have a question. It seemed to get a second bid. It seems like this was all put together very quickly. And I'm wondering why we didn't consider it during this first phase of that road. But now it seems like it's coming together quickly and we have to act. Or
Nope. Right. That's a good question.
time to get a second bid on the concrete.
Right now, I mean, you could, if we wanted to get this thing moving while the closeout of this project is happening, and while I'm still here to help get this thing moving, act as a GC, I guess I would recommend doing it now. Mike's numbers are very favorable.
The first part of my question will probably answer the second part. Why we didn't consider this? If it's been like this forever, we just went up there and spent all the money on engineering and designing and road construction and either how come we're doing it now?
Yep, no, I can answer that. So a lot of this goes back to the RFP that we just recently approved that I recommend, and I believe Chuck and Wendy were all for. It's the right-of-way RFP. So when the water line and the road line and all that was done, it was basically done within the realms of the limits of the road and the back of the sidewalks. So I asked Debo a year ago, I didn't hear until this spring, and finally pushed him more. I said, what is the limits of the right-of-way on Blake Street? And he finally looked that up and gave me some information. Turns out that wall is in the right-of-way. So all of that, the water project, the road project, and all that was done without the benefit of a right-of-way plan. And there are no there's very, very limited right-of-way plans, which we've talked about this before. That's why I recommend prior to any project the town does, have Debo move forward and complete the right-of-way, so so the town knows what is our responsibility. And we did not know that until probably a little while ago. And that is the thing I recommend, that stay with Debo, and he's busy. I know right now he's busier than heck. And someone will have to push him to continue with the right-of-way stuff. But thinking down the road, so if there's a water project down the road, a road project down the road, have them start 2 years ahead of time. So that's a lot of it. It would have been ideally nice. I thought about that wall a year ago. I'm thinking, well, you know what? It hasn't fallen. We don't have the money in the budget, which we did not. Closing out this project, there's the money available. Let's shift it, because we saved money on the wall that was going to be by the tennis courts. There was going to be a small wall or high curb there. Instead, there's just going to be a curb. So no, they're moving, as we move forward, no, definitely the right of way needs to happen. And that would have answered that question well over a year ago, probably even 2 years ago on that wall.
Okay, are you satisfied, Peter, about not doing any more research to take action?
Well, it's a moot point at this juncture, because as Reverend said, that wall's been leaning for as long as I can remember. and I do know the family, but that's not relevant to this point. But I just, it goes back almost to the roof situation in Saxon River. Who's responsible? Even though it isn't a town right away, and I don't, it could take a while to research it, and I don't know how much of a rush we are to get this fixed, or whether there's a time limit, but it may take a while to get this thing sorted out if you try and do any research to it. So, I guess it's a board decision at this point.
Okay, anybody wants to make a motion? Or-
Well, if I could throw one thing out there, I guess I would recommend the motion if it's good, if it's in favor, is using Mike Pilo and Adams Trucking and Excavating.
So just for making the motion, should we say 50,000 remaining from Burt Blake project, or stick with your 80 projected and you're getting 10 from somewhere else?
Right, I would say that's good. Projected $50,000 from the Burt Blake Park Street project and the remaining $30,000 from the FY20 highway budget.
So what's your total number now that you got your excavation?
Still 80,000, and that gives us like a $4,000 or $4,500 buffer there for any type of retaining wall, not retaining wall, but a fence up on top.
But so 50 from Burt and 20 from, we're gonna take 30.
No, 50 from Burt and 30,000. So modify that 30 from the general highway fund, or modify the 20 to 30. So keep it at 80.
And does that Park Street just below need a retaining wall, or what? I asked that last year.
That has been holding, I mean, it could use one. It's been holding up, and actually when I did the road profile itself, I raised that grade right there. If you remember, it's actually the road itself is about a foot higher than it was, plus we're putting a curb in there. And putting a wall in is going to be tough because you've got the pole there, and you got the hydrant just around the corner. I would love to put one there. In fact, originally when Chuck and I talked, it's like, I'd like to put one there. And we do not have the dollars for that. That could be probably added down the road if it does start failing with block. I would then maybe use granite blocking, because you're not going to be able to get a footing in there at all, like a traditional footing like this one here.
Is there riprap or something in there now? I thought it was dirt.
No, it's just dirt right now. No riprap on that one. Where you're seeing riprap is on Mike Griffin's section of a real steep slope. That's the one where Dave Cobb used to live.
Okay.
But that down the road, though, you may be right. We may wish we added one. Right now, it's not in the budget. I think I'd put the curbing in because that'll help it, the curbing.
So in relation to the wall, are you looking at like forming up and pouring cement and all that, or?
Right. Yep. It'll be a 5 to 6 foot footing, stone underneath, and then the wall itself would be 18 inches at the bottom of the wall, 1 foot on top, 6 foot tall wall. So it'll be sticking up out off the pavement by roughly 5.5 feet. It'll be battered back from 18 inches at the bottom up on top. It'll be a 6-inch batter or 6 feet. So I guess an inch per foot.
Was that all rebarred now? Or?
All rebarred. Yep. It's all engineered. So I did a schematic on a wall, sent it up to Todd Hindiger.
Yep.
He's the one who did the wall on Cherry Hill. I said, I think section A, maybe section B, because that was 4 different sections. One of those will work, and it turns out the smaller one will work. So it is engineered to withstand, using a heel on that. The heel will actually help keep the wall from falling over.
So there isn't any more economical ways to do this? Like I see a lot of them doing
Safer.
Yeah, with like the blocks that are rebarred in with a foundation.
Yeah, and I thought about that too. So if there's ledge in this area, so if we start, no, not to this existing foundation does not appear to be deep enough. That's why it's all moving. So if you're going to start from scratch, you want a proper 5 to 6 foot footing, 18 inches thick, and then build a rebar off that, so you can tie it all in. I looked at the possibility of going granite blocks,
right?
Then you can custom cut those, or even ready rock. The problem with that, you got the slope of the road at 6%. You get up to the stairs, and then you know, those usually work better at a very flat or maybe 1 or 2% grade. You get to the stairs, you got to start trimming and customizing to make that work. Plus you've got water sewer service when you get up by the stairs, and you've got ledge. So if we hit ledge, you can't get the adequate footing or the bearing on the blocking. So in I looked at, like I said, granite, ready rock, and cast in place. I think the reason cast in place was done beforehand. If we do hit ledge, we'll probably square it up and then clean it really well, drill it, and pin to that.
Let me ask you, if I may, Chairman, aesthetically, do we have any plan for the aesthetic look of that?
I talked about that with Mike Pilo. He said, well, maybe you could add, some type of finish to it. I said, well, yes, we could, but then I don't know if you had enough of the forms anyway. That will add cost. I'm not sure what, but we did not do that on Cherry Hill Wall. And if we start doing that here, and then maybe down the road, every wall the town is going to be looking at doing down the road may have to have that type of finish. And then do you really want to set yourself up for that?
Right.
Because it will be a request. So at this point I said, no, let's go straight.
So
This will have, for aesthetics though, this will have a curb in front of it. So when we're all done, the curb will be in front of it.
Yep.
It'll be a little bit of kind of a 10% slope, maybe 5% slope from the top of the curb to the edge of the wall. And that will, that'll then could be, it'll be grass seed.
Right.
might we foresee more of these things coming up now if we've got our right of ways all squared away? I mean, you see other people coming in the same situations here?
Offhand right now, I would say no. I mean, I could check with Mike to ask him, hey, what do you think? Because some of the walls, say for example, if it's a cast in place wall on Front Street, that's kind of down over the bank. No one's going to see that really driving by. And I can find out the cost. If it's reasonable, maybe we can add, if he's got the forms, maybe we can add it in.
On this project?
Yeah, if that's where you're going with that. I'm not sure if you're going with that or not.
No, I was just having 10 more retaining walls come up over the next several years now that we've determined.
I don't see that in this town. The wall, the next one is a Front Street wall. The other thing let me just throw that, it's good for the record right now, but on Rockingham Street, one of the buildings, the building owned by Steve Moore, someday will need it's at the edge of the right of way, something the town to think about. But there's a vault, like an empty space under the sidewalk. It protrudes out into the road, maybe about a foot. So the sidewalk's acting like a slab. So that at some point we got to work with Steve Moore. The town will have to probably have him build a wall on, instead of a wood framed foundation, fill that all in, and then rebuild the sidewalk. So that I don't think it's a huge project, but it needs to be done. It's a wall you won't see, but it's a building wall. It's a matter of whose responsibility that would be. But no, there's not a lot. Front Street, then there's a lot of shift toward large structures. That's what I would do after that. Those are structure grants for the large structures. I would just keep applying for those. Because there's Leach Road needs about 3 more, and there's a bunch of others in town, that really need it.
Okay. Make a motion, or are we moving on here?
I'll make the motion that I recommend, I move that we contract with Pilo and Sons to complete the cast in place footings and wall from the south corner north, a distance of 88 feet to the street sign for $36,000, with the town purchasing materials direct estimated at, is it now? 20,000. That's the recommendation. I'm sure what the motion should be.
80 is the total.
For a total of 80,000, with 50,000 coming anticipated from the remaining Blake Park Street project, and 30,000 from the highway budget. Oh, and Adams trucking for the earthwork moving.
Are you done, Sue? Because I'll second it if you're done.
Yeah, I'm done, I think. I think I got it all in.
Motion's been made. She said that.
Oh,
Motion's been made and seconded for the retaining wall contractor with the numbers listed. Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in
I don't know
favor?
if I remember said Blake Street in that, so that's, make sure that it's Blake Street wall. I don't think I mentioned the street.
What'd you get? What do you got? You got it?
I think so. Just, I recommend contracting with Pilo and Sons and Buck Adams to complete the cast in place footings and wall for the south corner north, a distance of 88 feet on Blake Street to the street sign for $36,000, with the town purchasing the materials directly for the project, estimated at $80,000, with $50,000 coming from the Burt Lake Park Street project and $30,000 coming from the fiscal year 2020 highway budget.
So the materials directly for the project estimated should remain at 20 with a total project cost of 80, right? Everett?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor would signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. Next, we have equipment trailer. I did. Yes. Equipment trailer. RFP Everett Hammond.
Okay, so the current Rogers 21-ton trailer that was actually traded in back in 1996 or 95, I believe, with the town backhoe, and that was a trade-in due to the fact that that was the in 1994 the town purchased the Cat 311 excavator, and due to the fact that it was a lot cheaper to have the excavator to move that around to the trailer than it was to have a draught type of machine, which would have been at least $40,000 more and more wear and tear. So the excavator is still running, still going well. So this trailer is, like I said, 25 years old. The cross members are rotting out. It will not pass inspection. To get this up and running, I talked to Wally and I talked to Rick Crawford. Rick said it's a very nasty job to complete this, probably at least 3 weeks, plus putting it on the deck. With a cross member, you gotta take one side rail right off. You gotta cut each of those cross members out. And you've got to support it while you're working on it, make sure things do not twist on you. By the time you get all that, you're gonna have probably $13,000, $14,000 into it. I came up with a rough estimate of maybe 12, so we're right in that ballpark. Rick says it's time to replace it and sell it for what you can get it for. There's people out there that can use it the way it is. That might be a farmer, who knows, but it's got a home for somebody. But he said that right now it's time to let it go and look at purchasing a new one. The guys have been keeping an eye on equipment magazines. I've never heard of Rampart or Rampant. They see that in a magazine. I include them in the bid, and they were quite a bit lower. Lucky's Trailers, I'm not sure what bid they would have had as far as type of trailer. But Rampant, they actually make their own. They're structurally sound, and they do sell quite a few up in the Northeast. They are around if you look. They're stock parts, so you can buy the parts in about 3 or 4 places in Vermont, and obviously Massachusetts. But it's no markup. They make it and they sell them. They're probably 4 to 6 weeks out. Considerable difference in cost. This trailer is a little bit bigger. It's 25-ton versus the 20-ton. Yes, we do have a 21-ton that on some of the equipment we haul, it's been pushing it. We've been probably over limit. We don't have scales on it, but we probably have been over limit. Not on our excavator, not on a roller, but some of the other stuff we've hauled in the past. And when you do load up the roller, you've got to load the roller, then jiggle the ramps around, center it up, and drop the ramps in there again and chain it. I have not seen them do it, but I know there's a little maneuvering around to get it in there. Wally, Pete, they recommend with this 25-ton trailer through Rampant, 27,529. That's delivered. Yellow paint.
Sorry?
What are your thoughts?
He was still talking.
No, I'm done. That's,
I'll wait. Anyone else have anything? Yes, right here.
Did we, I know it's not always great, but have we looked at any used trailers out there? I know that lots of contractors are always upgrading their trailers and those might be in.
right. And I talked to Andy about it. If you could do something like that, problem is you may be getting, someone else's problem. There's a reason they're getting rid of them. If you go something new like this, we should easily get another 25 years out of a new trailer, maybe 30. But I mean, that's something we can do, but I guess I would recommend, if we got 25 years out of it, it was a $12,000 trailer then. So the cost of $500 a year. And it has saved a lot of money by having the guys have the trailer versus trying to have someone move stuff around. You could do that too. For example, we used prior to the roller, we probably used it 1 to 2 times a week during the course of the summer. So maybe 45 times a year, that would have been at $200 a move, probably $9,000. Now we're probably 2 to 3 times a week for a 30-week time period, 75 times a year, 15,000. So and we may get $3,000 trade-in, or a sell for this, because it does have value for somebody. So I'm all for used if there's something good and used out there, but at this point I would recommend these guys, they're not marking up, well, other than their own markup, but it's not going to a supplier that's then remarking it up. It's going direct to the manufacturer from them.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that the town of Rockingham
Yeah,
purchase 25
I was gonna say, we have this funding.
tag-along-
Keep going, Peter.
25-ton tag-along equipment trailer from Rampant for $27,529.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Town of Rockingham purchased 25-ton tag-along from Rampant, $27,529. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Nay. Next. So both fire chiefs were here a minute ago. We're gonna make them wait? We're gonna introduce
They
them?
want to come back as a formal agenda item. They thought maybe an introduction early on in the meeting, but seeing that we've moved on, they said we'll come back later.
Oh, okay,
No problem.
okay, sorry, go ahead.
That's right. Okay,
Section.
that was a 3-2 pass, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Saxon River sidewalk. Okay, that's, I believe, next on the agenda. So I'll just kind of reiterate what this includes again. Main Street, that's starting at Pleasant Street, going 400 feet east of Pleasant Street toward Bellows Falls. That's, and then Pleasant Street on the east side from Main Street, 300 feet north to Rice Road. And Pleasant Street on the west side is an overlay section of 300 feet. Grove Street, that'll be improving 166 feet section from Main Street up to the top of the hill. And that'll be a simple improvement, ripping the pavement up, regrading it, repaving, base and top. So I put the bids out. We got a number of bids. Actually, you'll see on the, attachment. Actually, there was a lot of interest in it. 6 bids. I won't go through them all, but Vermont Roadworks, they were the low bid at $47,940. Tom Call was fairly close behind at $53,542. And then the rest were anywhere from $54,730 up to $76,231. So we're getting quite a bit of sidewalk work completed with this. I did a little reference check. I've used them before. You do gotta keep an eye on them, but they're good as far as doing sidewalks. Road work might be different as far as paving roads. Sidewalk work is pretty simple stuff, as long as they get it graded correctly and then they pave it correctly. I got a message from Jack Mahoney, Brattleboro Housing Authority. He said they've done a fair amount of curb and sidewalk for him, have had no problems. They did a great job, straightforward, great guy. There's no reason at this point to jump over the low bid to go with Tom Call, and I would have had to do some reference checks on Tom as well. In the budget, We've got 15,000 in the current budget, and 15,000 in next year's budget. So there's a total of 30. The gravel crushing, which we'll be talking about next, after, if that's approved, there'll be available 23,000, there's 23,750 available in that after we do the crushing. So we could take 20,000 out of that. That would be a total of 50,000, leaving a $2,000 contingency for the project. So I think it's getting a lot of work done. My recommendation would be to accept this bid. And, you know, maybe every 2 years, maybe the town puts a little bit of sidewalk work out for Saxon River instead of, you know, once every year. Because every year, 15,000, you're not going to get a lot done. And you'll get lower prices if you can scoop up a $50,000 contract. That's about it.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have just a question, a clarification. I should probably address this to Shannon. I think I sent her an email about the $12,000 from 2019 that never got used up. And according to statute and the VLCT, it should have been rolled over. So I don't know if that's still in effect or not. Just trying to clarify.
So that stayed in the highway general fund.
Come back on that, you say?
Those funds are in the highway general fund.
The 12,000 from 2019, she's saying, Peter, stayed in this highway general fund.
So the statute says if it is for a specific item, which it was, Saxon River sidewalk, then it should have rolled in and you've been used for the same purpose the following year. So I'm just trying to find out if we're doing this right or what. I know it probably ended up in the surplus, but.
Peter, I wonder if we put 3 additional in on top of that 12 and got the 15 from 2020. Anybody?
It made a difference between Katana. I'm just trying to get a clarification here.
I was asking a question.
I don't think we add.
Do you remember, Sue?
No, I don't remember that we did add. I think it was separate.
I thought so too. Okay. I don't have the answer to that question. I have one question, Everett.
Yep.
For a section there on the north side, Main Street, across from Old Cushman's restaurant there.
Okay.
That tree root protruding the thing. What do you do about that when you put your new one in there?
Okay, that tree root you're talking about there is Jim McCaffrey property, correct? The second one in from the one on the corner, I believe you're talking about.
That's correct.
Okay, so I talked to Jim about, I talked to actually all the landowners on that side there. I haven't had a chance to catch up to one of them on the Pleasant Street yet. But that tree there, I talked to Jim. He has no problem cutting that tree. I'll have to go through the tree warden on that one, drag it out back whole, and he'll cut it up. And
Oh, really?
That'll eliminate that problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was the tree in bad shape or?
No, but we'd have to, if we do go through there, we're gonna be probably cutting a massive root. And it's probably not gonna help it. You know, for us to do the sidewalk, we're gonna rip up the pavement. We're gonna go down 1 foot and put in 12 inches of dense grade.
Yeah.
And then 3.5 inches of pavement, and then we're gonna, you know, dress it all up, but it will, without cutting the root, it will come back.
Right.
And
So
that's,
you've already discussed all that or arranged all that?
yep, I've talked to landowner on that one.
Excellent.
There is one tree, it's a little different if you're going up Pleasant Street.
Yeah, I see.
The one on Buck's property. So I tried to, not that I want to cut every tree in town, I'm not trying to do that, but he's not in favor of cutting that tree, so we'll have to,
Yep.
if the root's in the way, we'll have to cut the root
On the corner?
on the corner, right, just in from the corner ways.
That first tree also looks like it's leaning. Perhaps it's just this picture, but is it? If it makes any difference now.
Well, it's leaning probably toward the house there, maybe. But it's actually, it's the one on the left, not the one you see on the corner by 0.
Yep.
It's further up past the pole. You see that? There's a tree there? On the
Okay.
left-hand side, between the sidewalk and the road.
Yep.
We can't cut that tree.
Yep.
So we'll have to deal with the root, and hopefully it won't be a huge one there. I don't believe it's a monster tree.
I wasn't entertaining, we cut any trees. I was asking about the roots, but it seems like you have a good solution for that.
Yeah, but I will still be talking to the tree warden. So it's not as simple as just cut the tree. I will go through the tree warden on that.
Okay, and want to make a motion?
I'll go ahead and make the motion that the select board accept the bid of $47,940 from Vermont Roadworks, reference the Saxon River Sidewalk RFP Project 2020 as specified in the documents tonight.
What's the total?
Total was $47,940.
A second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. The Saxon River sidewalk work, referencing RFP 2020, the numbers stated. Any more discussion?
Yeah, one more question. I don't know if ever can answer or not, but I don't think Tom called those paving. Is he subcontracting, the subbing that out ever? Do you know?
That would have been a sub, and that's the big thing. This guy does, he has some small earthwork stuff he does, and he does paving. So there's part of the big difference. He doesn't need to mark his own paving up. If I can recommend that adding the 2060 for contingency for a total of 50, that would be helpful for Andy or whoever, or Chuck, whoever's overseeing this project. It's not a big contingency, but it's in case something does develop.
And your motion.
Do I want to amend the motion? I guess so, sure.
What is it?
Well, if you look at the bottom of my recommendation, 47,940 is their bid plus a 2060 contingency for a total of $50,000. Doesn't mean we're going to spend 50, but it allows Chuck a little leverage there, a little leeway. In case something does develop.
Hang on.
Yeah, I'll amend the motion to change the amount from 47,940 to 50.
You second that?
Yep. Second.
All right, been amended, seconded, $50,000 Saxon River sidewalk RFP 2020 locations listed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Moving right along, concrete crushing pulverizing RFP.
Okay, this is in the old section of the town pit. If you drive in there, you'll see that, well, you got the picture on back. It's a huge pile of probably 2,500 yards. And concrete pile like that's pretty tough to estimate exactly. Some of it toward the back is stacked pretty tight. Toward the front, you can see it's kind of loose looking. Actually the numbers came in pleasantly less than I thought. I sent it out there. I got Fuzzy Brothers, they bid on it. Basin Brothers, and no other bids. Usually McCulloch might bid on something like that, but he's at this point right out straight. He's pretty busy. They're the biggest crushing company in the state. Fuzzy 650 for inch and a quarter gravel. That was 32.5. 2 1/4 gravel 30,000. Basins was 43,000 for the inch and a quarter, and 39,250 for the 2 1/4. I looked at it. This is the type of gravel we do not want to be putting out on the gravel roads. Our intention here is to crush this up, have it so it's a usable product, so we can use for a base somewhere. So, I put the inch and a quarter in the spec and the 2 1/4 just to see the price difference. After talking, Pete and I met in the pit, and talked about what about maybe even a 3-inch. If we go with a 3-inch, you can run it through the primary crusher, and we can do that actually at 450 cubic yard. So that alone would be 26,250. Not knowing what the product's going to look like, I'm recommending that we do half and half. If we don't like any of that, we'd actually go with the smaller 2 1/4. But I think we'll be all right. City of Claremont, they did some for them. They're going to use it as a base road, a concrete gravel mixture, and that'll be good product for that. For example, this wall that's coming down, that'll go in a pile. And if we had that all crushed up prior to using backfill on that wall, that same material from that wall and gravel that we're going to mix with it would be used for backfill behind that wall. And So due to the metal and due to all the concrete, that's why I do not recommend putting in the roads and going to the 1.25 inch gravel. You know, as we run out of gravel, we'll probably have to purchase it, but this will be, it'll free up that space. So as we end up with more concrete, we can stockpile that. And that stockpile you see there was from 2011. So it's a 9-year stockpile. That's the last one we had there was all used up during Irene. So probably every 8, 9, 10 years, if you do less concrete sidewalk, obviously it'll take a while longer. But we do not just dump it over bank. It's reused, recrushed, and this does help. So my recommendation is to, as you see on the bottom there, accept Fuzzy Brothers $6 per cubic yard for 2,500 of concrete / gravel, and $450 for 2,500 cubic yards of concrete gravel for a total of 26,250. And in the budget, there's 50,000. This will leave you the 23 and change, which is being used for Saxon River sidewalks.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Everett,
Yep.
how's our regular, were we using 1.25 now on the roads?
Yeah, we're about out. We're close to being out. I'm not sure if they.
That was my question, is how much we had stockpiled, et cetera.
Yeah, there may be, I don't know, 500 yards, 1,000 yards. You know, it's just a matter of, you know, if they had to, obviously they'll get by. But we've got a new budget year coming up, so if they need, at some point they need a little bit, you know, we can go buy it. They'll just have to be careful what they buy. You know, we do have a fair amount of 2 1/4 and the bigger stuff, but I definitely would not recommend making out of this. And we do not want to take the 2 1/4 gravel, that's not this gravel, a different gravel, and crush that down to 1 1/4 inch. I think it'd be a waste of crushing because it's been crushed once.
Right.
But it's a good base gravel. It's not going to go anywhere. You know, it will be used. You know, it's never a waste. And could be a real bad mud season. We have put out 2 1/4 gravel in the mud season before, but you do have to cover it up again later.
Yeah.
And I think Tim Graves has some decent prices. We'll have to check. Andy will have to check those guys out, see what he's got for crushed gravel down there.
I'd entertain a motion.
Make the motion that we accept the bid from Fuzzy Brothers of $6 per cubic yard for the 2,500 cubic yard of concrete gravel and $450 cubic yard for 2,500 cubic yard of concrete gravel for a total of 26,250.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Do you need to specify the size? That's pretty clear in the motion.
And, you know, now I don't, probably not just a total amount because the quantity may vary a little bit. You know, for example, they start crushing 3 inch, we like it, we'll spend more. I mean, we'll spend less.
Okay.
But if they start crushing it, and boy, we don't like that. You know, maybe after the first day we switch over. We may not crush as, you know, the bottom line is we've got 26,250. Andy can always run it by Chuck.
But in your motion, do you want, just for reference, what you get?
26,250, I think that'd be good. I probably was too specific.
Okay.
26,250.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor would signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
passes. Motion passes. Thank you.
Yep.
Winter sandstone RFP.
All right, getting toward the end, one more after this. Okay, we put the sand out to bid, sand and stone. We're gonna, one of these days, you know, all these towns are gonna start running out of good sand. You know, right now JP's got some decent sand. You know, he says he's got a lot, but what I'd like to do here is experiment a little bit. So, you know, when we have freezing rain or dry here, we go through a lot of sand. So what I'm trying to do here is go for 4,500 yards of sand. And my original RFP went out for 1,500 yards of stone. I did not have enough in the budget to actually achieve that goal. So I want to stick with the 4,500 yards of sand recommend JP's price at $9, FOB and 14.15 delivered, we'd work with them, as a tandem, one of our trucks hauling with one of his trucks, kind of 50-50 to get it in place, and modify the stone down to 1,000 yards. We'd end up getting from Cold River. He's actually, let's see, I had to convert their bid actually to from ton to yard, so it's 23.12 per yard, loaded, 28.90 delivered. We would end up actually picking it up because we do not need to stockpile 1,000 yards all at once. We could put up 300 or 400, and then as the winter goes on, we need a little more, we'll get more. But the benefit would be, I believe, we can cut back on sand. Nope. Chuck, I see you.
We're here, we're gonna put her in.
Okay. So by doing this, I think with the ice storms, I believe, we could run it up the middle of maybe 8, 10, no more than a 12-foot strip. Enough to, so people will see it. It'll be safe. It has to be a crushed stone, not a round stone, because a round would, if it's like a pea stone, that would tend to kind of bounce off the road a little easier. It's worth a shot. I think, some towns have been doing it, or they're starting to do it. The 3 or 4 towns that I know about, this is not doing it a full-fledged yet. It's taken one of the guys, and I'm saying one of the guys, it might change come next winter, but have one of the guys, try it on their run. Probably someone like Scott Bingham. I think it'd be a good run for him to try. He's up there in the Parker Hill area, a little less traffic. So I think it's worth a shot because it may, and this will benefit the road too. The stone, especially if you any town that puts winter sand down, it should be tested. So if the fines are more than it should be, and you start putting inferior sand in there, number of years of adding inferior sand will destroy you'll have bad gravel roads in the spring, and that might be 10 years before you know it. By then you've already got that sand in there. This will actually add a pure stone, which is what most towns do in the springtime. They don't add this small a stone, but adding the stone will help that road, all the gravel roads. So this sort of is experimentation. It's not a lot. It's still 4,500 yards of sand with if it turns out it doesn't work at all, we'll just have probably 500 yards to start with, but there's no reason the stone will not work. You put it out on the icy roads, freezing rain, I'm sure the guy's going to go right to that pile first before they go to the sand. And down the road, if this works, there'll be a reason we don't need a sand shed ever. Oops, I don't know if I lost you guys or not. Sue, can you hear me? I see you.
Yeah, I hear you. We lost the meeting.
Ms. Gary.
I'm still kicking around.
Yeah, still on. Peter's still on.
Yep.
Back TV. We lost the meeting room.
Shannon to the rescue.
I see Shannon's trying to fix it. Fix something.
Are you hacked?
You guys hear us?
Yep.
Yep.
I can hear you.
Okay, you want me to continue, Gaetano?
Just 1 minute, please.
Sure.
The blue breaker.
Oh.
It's an old fuse amp, so now we're running around looking for one. Stefan's on the 3rd floor.
Where'd it go?
Tell you to release those kidneys. We're just, Stefan's in the restroom, and then I think we're good. If you guys can see us, we can see and hear you, I think. We'll continue in just a moment. Sorry about that. We were looking for the cord before it died, but you'll have that. We got it. Here we are. Continue, Everett. Thank you.
Okay, yep. So in all that, there's not, as you see, there's not a lot of people that really put in material, and part of the reason I just wanted, this is probably the earliest the town's ever put it out, but let's get someone locked up My recommendation is to accept JP Trucking's winter sand proposal of $9 per cubic yard FOB for 2250 and cubic yards, and the sand at 1415 for 2250 cubic yards that's been delivered for a total of 52,088. And accept Cold River Materials winter stone proposal of 17 per ton or approximately 2890 per cubic yards for 1,000 cubic yards for a total of 23,120.
Okay, any questions? Was that clear to everyone? Stone portion?
I have one question.
I have one question here, Everett.
Yep.
I know the answer time wise, but not hauling all the sand ourselves. I know that's gonna be the answer, but.
Yeah, right. At this point, I was hesitant to even, right now we're down 3 guys. So, I think we'll be able to put one guy on maybe, at some point to help haul this stuff, the haul sand, but I don't want to promise JP that we're going to be able to truck it all and not do it. Last year we did the same thing. We did a 50-50 split. Would like to have it all delivered or even all pick it up, but I just don't see it happening right now. And the stone, we do not need to, and that could easily be done. We could truck, after all the sand is done, the sand pile you'll see up there at the tool shed, the stone will go in front of the ramp for the, on the tool shed end. So it'll go on in front of that ramp. We do not need to put all 1,000 yards up at once. We can put in 300 or 400 yards. And then slow days in the wintertime, restock it.
Yep.
And towards spring, if we don't use it all, we don't buy it all.
Right.
Just buy what you need.
Yep.
And the sand will never go to waste, but the stone you don't want to have to move out of the way later. You'd rather end the year with no stone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll start with the winter sand one first. I assume we're gonna do these separate.
That'd be the way I would go.
Yep.
Okay, I recommend accepting the town of Rockingham accept JP Trucking's winter sand proposal of $9 cubic yard FOB for 2,250 cubic yards of sand and 1,415 for 2,250 cubic sand delivered for a total of $52,088.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve winter sand purchase. Any other discussion? All those in favor would signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes.
Winter stone. I recommend the town accept the Cold River Materials winter stone proposal of $17 a ton FOB, or it doesn't sound right, or $28.90 cubic yard for 1,000 cubic yards of stone for a total of $23,120.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor would signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. You got those numbers right on the second one, I think. Sort of says up top.
Yep.
Okay, next we have Green Mountain Pole permit request.
Okay, this request is actually Lower Atkinson Street. You can pretty much tell by the picture. The picture was taken on a rainy day, but right down near used to be the flower shop or the antique center there, you'll see the first pole on the left, and then the next one just beyond on the right, and then a little further up, you can barely see it. Further up is another one on the right. Those 3 poles need to be replaced in order for them to continue this. I think it's a high speed. Let's see, I think I put it in here somewhere. High speed communication up to the central school. The first one on the left, you'll see is actually just about ready to fall over anyway. I requested that it be moved to the backside of the sidewalk, at least a distance of 6 feet, if not a little bit more. So someday if this sidewalk is ever redone, maybe it's going to be instead of 5-foot walk, it might be a 6-foot walk, including the curb. So push it back a little bit closer to the tree. And I believe they're taking that tree down as well. And the other two on the other side of the road will be pushed back as well. So
And remove.
I got my recommendation there. I said I recommend approve the pole permit request with a condition to hold that the old pole be removed with a period of 1 year and authorize the chairman to sign the attached plan prepared by Green Mountain Power.
Second.
I can't. You wanna move it?
Recommend the town approve the pole permit request with the condition that the old pole be removed within a period of 1 year. And authorize the chairman to sign the attached plan prepared by Green Mountain Power.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Want me to sign this copy of it?
Sure. If you can sign that copy and if give that to Chuck, we'll make sure that gets back tomorrow.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. For the street pole permit, Green Mountain Power, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. I'll sign this and leave it with, okay, that, concludes that section. Next, probably sticking around for this one too.
Yep, I will.
Academy Ave extension, the alley, Saxton's River sidewalk discussion, roof. Who wants to go first?
I can
You
take.
want me to run a little history on this or what? Seems like I got all the paperwork in front of me.
Peter, yeah, go ahead and start.
I don't want to hear the whole history.
Yeah, I believe Chuck has the same copies, but goes way back to 1929 when people presented a petition to the then select board to have a sidewalk put in from Main Street down to River Street between that building and the church. So we have proof that the select board did approve that action. Later on, 1930, they laid the sidewalk out. Same place. It describes the meets and bounds, you know, the pins and all that stuff in there. 1986, we have a deed here from Andy Wynn with a right-of-way between the two buildings. It gives the measurements of about a 10-foot right-of-way, and that went, I think that went to the church. It doesn't specifically say so, because as Chuck writes, it's kind of kinky language. You got to be a legal beagle to read it. But anyway, bottom line is that the town is responsible for that sidewalk that they laid out. And I couldn't find anything when the roof was installed, but it had to have been done through select board minutes, and I'm sure it was probably done before 1960, which nobody can find the select board minutes at town hall. So it's anybody's guess, but somewhere in the 80s or 90s, it was repaired by the town because my wife, being the zoning administrator at that point and health officer, remembers the town doing some work to that sidewalk and roof area. So guess it's up to us. Either we want to repair the building, or I mean the roof to that. There's several options, but it could involve a lot of bit of legal expense to do a title search as to who owns what and where it goes and who's still responsible. So I guess the board decision as to whether we want to fix it or whatever.
Well, it sounded from some of the last conversation there, that was I would say, frequently used route to go from the lower side there up to Main Street, Saxon's River. So question is, does it get to warrant, I guess, repairing and maintaining it? Otherwise you throw up what's class 4?
Class 4 now.
It's legally a class 4 road and you're obligated to provide maintenance on it. Peter Golick's research clarifies for me that you're not establishing precedent of maintenance on class 4 roads, that this is a unique situation. Therefore, we're not going to get other petitions from other class 4 roads. This is its own animal.
Yeah.
I do want the board to consider repair and potential discontinuance of this public asset. Make sure you know it's in your interest to keep or not.
Well, the first thing before we decide what we want to do is I'm not in favor of, that thing either needs a complete reconstruction. It needs a lot more than a roofing material and either boards or plywood. The whole structure, in my opinion, is, I would never put a new roof on top of that. All the posts go into the earth. Half of them are rotted. They're not sitting on concrete. The triple 2x6 carrier is twisted and cracked and failing as well. The best quality in that system is actually the roof rafters, which might be salvageable. Just about all the rest of it should be repaired. Should we entertain doing this project? Should we further the discussion on what to do? I think it needs to be more involved discussion as to what to do. It needs more than a roof. So that's my opinion with what we need to do here, which would, I don't know, entitle the land homeowner, perhaps on both sides, more, maybe a better discussion about moving forward here, get some prices for a total repair, entertain discussion about removing it. Not in favor of putting a roof on that at the taxpayer's expense.
I think you're on the right track there, Gaetano, that we should look at an estimate for the total replacement before we make a decision here, see how much money we're gonna possibly get into here.
So that'd be something the homeowner would want to get some estimates. Would we want to do that? I mean, he got this roof estimate, right?
Yeah, but I think Buckner got that, and then he dumped it on us to if we want to do something with that out there, that we deal with the roofer direct. So I guess we can go back to the roofers and see what they wanted to do with it.
Yeah, and at this point, I think the last time we discussed it, we wanted to verify that we did in fact, were responsible for maintenance. It appears we are, so now we can go for here with a recommendation of what we would do to repair that properly. Make it last. Most things we discuss, we like to buy things that last, so let's continue in that fashion. Yes, Susan?
If I remember, there was the roofing, we had the roofing bid, and he had said something about $400 per post. Is that right? Is my memory right on that? Which
I
was
think
like,
you're right, so.
there was 8 or 10, so already we're talking an extra almost $4,000 or something just for that part. So I think you're right. Get a real final quote on what the total project would be.
Yeah, and it's more than the post, the beam that carries the rafters, the ledger against the building, the roof decking, all of it. It's really should be looked at closer.
Well, let me ask you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 posts, all 45 braces, carrying beam, ledger, roof rafters.
So what's our obligation if we throw up the road? We have to remove the structure and.
I think that's a discussion we can have. Let's bring everyone together and move forward on how to approach it. Originally, it was just make sure we owned it. Now we, I'll say it again, we verified that. So now what do we do going forward? I think we have some options to do some work and then come back with another discussion and hope to take some action then. How's that? I mean, at this point, I'm not ready to to do much, except we just need to do some more work and address it. It's been neglected and we'll get it resolved.
Sounds like an idea to me.
Can I throw one thing out there, Gaetano? So one thing to consider if you do throw this road up is, are there any drainage pipes heading down through there, or sewer pipes, or even water pipes? So
I think there's a lot to consider if that's an option. I don't know if that's an option. Stefan brought it up, so we have a lot of things to look at, right? I think Peter had mentioned Christchurch might be involved as well, right? They might own part of it. we're not really sure,
Right.
so.
Yeah, you're looking at some legal bucks there, you know.
Maybe we'll find the minutes that have all the answers on it and it'll help answer some questions, or we'll just keep moving forward with what we need to do at this point. How's that? Okay, so let's move on. Gary's been patiently waiting. Gary and Peter. Gary, you're up if you'd like, or, so next, number 4, recycle center.
Okay, I'm not sure what you have in front of you, but I was asked to speak specifically to 2 items. One of them is an RFP for the recycling, trucking and processing. We're in our 3rd year of a 3-year contract right now, which runs out on June 30th. There was a provision in that contract that for extensions, if both parties were agreeable to it. We indicated our agreement to extend it. However, the contractor that we're using declined to extend it past the 3 years. So we've had to go out and get with an RFP for recycling services again. Because of the short turnaround, and because their services were offered, we took up the solid waste district's executive director's offer to get this together and going for us. He's the one that did it the last time and got us a good 3-year contract. He just finished up getting another towns out and was willing to do ours, get it out there again. Other than that, we're progressing with it. The RFP is going to be in this week's paper. It's been posted on the website. We'll have something in place by June 30th.
Do you have numbers, Gary, or you're just telling about you're trying to get numbers?
We don't have numbers yet. The
Okay.
RFP, the numbers are due on June 5th.
Gotcha, thank you.
This is an introduction that the RFP had to be released post haste and to heads up.
Right.
You got there? Yep.
Yeah. So that was it on that. We don't have any numbers yet. I'll give you a warning. We had a very good deal with the 3-year contract we had, and that's part of the reason why the contractor didn't want to sign on for an extension. He took it hard. He took a hard hit because of what
Are they
happened with the
gonna bid on the
recycling
new
market.
one? Gary,
He
are
can
they just
bid on the
not-
new one.
Okay,
He
So-
said he would consider rebidding again, but not under the terms that we were under. So
probably your next
so we can
item. Yeah, this price
Yeah,
sheet,
go ahead.
will that be impacted by the result of these RFPs? Should we be,
The price sheet should not be impacted by that because we
Okay.
don't charge for recycling. So there shouldn't be an impact.
tires?
There'd be an impact on our overall budget, but not particularly on these prices. We did anticipate some additional costs this year, and that's why we're recommending going up on some of the prices. We didn't feel that the market would bear going up on the excess sticker cost again. So we deferred to raising prices on the per items, which haven't been done in a number of years. I know we did do a few adjustments early on when I took over, which is almost 20 years now, I guess. So I don't think they've been adjusted a whole lot. So this will be a good time to do that. The only other one that will have some impact and is on our operation, we're going to have to move with it fairly quick, is the cost of the stickers, not the stickers, the tickets. We're using the $1.25 tickets right now, the dump tickets or whatever you want, trash tickets. They're $1.25 redemption value on them, and the recommendation is to increase that to $1.50 redemption value on the tickets. So your 15-gallon white bag would be $1.50, your 30-gallon bag would be $3, and your contractor bags would be 450. So, that is the recommendation as far as the price increase goes. I've been in contact with our printer who's doing our stickers. I don't have those yet. We're hoping to have the stickers available. I'm back to stickers again for a second. We hope to have the stickers available by June 1st to start getting them out there. But they're also working under a slowdown on their end of things because of this coronavirus recommendations, be safe recommendations. So they're working with a smaller crew. We believe we'll have them in time to get them out there by June 1st. But we'll definitely have them by June 30th.
I have a question.
They are in.
Peter said they're in, and they're saying back here they're in.
Beautiful.
Town clerk, yep. Town
Okay.
clerk showed me them the other day.
Great.
His office. I have a question, just to clarify. When I first asked my question, you said it wouldn't affect the recycling cost. So not having our new numbers, you've said that we've got a good deal for 3 years. We're probably not anticipating that same deal, right?
Right.
A considerable increase in cost for us,
Correct. Yes.
right?
Yep.
So my question would go back to the price increases. Is that we're adjusting them already prior to knowing how much our increase is going to be? Is that a safe thing to do, or perhaps do we want to look at the ticket fees and make sure that we're not going to be worse than we were or about the same? I think the goal is to not lose money in the recycling business. So if the RFPs come back much higher than we've been paying on this deal that the guy surely doesn't want to do again, and we've only made a slight increase in our fees, where are we going to be at? I know you can't answer that, but that's
right.
I think what the
Right.
question
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. What my problem was is, what do we do is, come July 1st, as far as if we're putting increases out, we just need to let people know what they're going to be. If you want to wait, that's fine too.
When will the RFPs be back?
The RFP for the recycling is due back to us on June 5th.
So that's the 3-year contract. You're saying recycling, that's just for trucking of the material, or this is
trucking and processing. We pay a fee, a flat fee for the trucking, and then we'd be paying per ton for the processing of the recycling.
Okay, and then the bags, are we also having to get a new contract for that? Like
No, that's still a good contract. That's still in place.
Okay, that clears up my question, I think.
Okay.
The bag price is going to stay the same. Follow me?
Yeah.
As far as our removal, disposal.
As far as the trash, the solid waste, the municipal trash, we're still in a good contract with that. Those aren't going to adjust up like the recycling likely will.
Okay.
Okay, just for a little background here, I did a bunch of research here. Went to 4 area towns that were experiencing people coming in from town of Walpole, Brattleboro, Putney, Springfield, Chester people come in, and I also went to, we don't have anybody coming from Charlestown, but I did get printed off their rates and everything. Walpole does not use an access sticker charge. They don't care who comes in. They weigh their bags. If you're not from Walpole, if you got a Walpole bag, it says town of Walpole trash on it. You can buy those 10 bags for $20, so it's about $2 a bag. Anybody else, they weigh the bags and you pay 30 cents a pound. All the appliances and stuff that we take, we're comparable in prices with them, if not a little higher than what they're getting in Walpole. Brattleboro requires an access sticker. They get $40 down there. They also have roadside pickup. Their bags are, they have 2 bag sizes, a 15-gallon, which is a white one, $2. A 32-gallon, which is next one up, is $3. We're in the same ballpark with them as far as the prices for refrigerators, et cetera, et cetera. I do have this information. I've been glad to hand it over to Chuck if he wants to look at it. Charlestown is the real fun one. They charge $50 for their sticker. It's required recycling over there, mandatory recycling they call it. They even have fines if they catch you doing something wrong over there. First offense is $25. Second offense is $50, and the third one is $75 and lose your ability to use the facility. So they do, as they say, the access sticker is $50 for the first one and $5 for the second one. And it's only Charlestown residents that can use the site. No one else. They don't allow anybody else in.
What do they pay for bag, Peter? Or that's included with them? They
Come
just
back?
Can you hear me?
What'd you say?
What does Charlestown pay per bag? Or is that included with their $50 Charlestown resident fee?
No. You ought to really read it. It's kind of interesting.
How much is it per bag for Charlestown? Do you know?
Trying to see what they get per bag here. Hang on, I've got 2 pages of stuff here.
And then when you were given, you said comparable to us a couple times. Is that comparable to these, the new pricing or what we've had now, or new?
Yeah, comparable to the new pricing. We some of the prices that we are proposing would be a little higher than what they're getting,
Yeah.
which might, cause some of those people, instead of piling in our facility, to go back where they belong there.
Yep.
If you want to call it that, I hate to say it, but.
Well, you're looking for that, Peter.
They're even charging for food scraps over there now. So that's something we're not charging for currently because it's not effective until July 1st. Let me see if I can find something here.
Peter.
It says trash.
Hey, Peter.
Yeah.
Gary has some more comment. You want to hold off while you look for that, or do you have more?
Yeah, go ahead. Let him go ahead.
Okay.
I just wanted to point out one thing that was on those recommended price increases was an increase in the scale price.
Right.
We were recommending going from the 10 cents a pound to 15 cents a pound. If you recall, this past year, we went from 7 to 10, and we're going to recommend going up another nickel in the upcoming budget.
Did you not say Walpole's 30 cents a pound?
Let's see, what's Walpole? No, their
Is that-
C&D is 15 cents a pound. Their weight stuff,
Okay.
a lot of it's 15 cents a pound. Everything they take over the scale is 50 cents, but they also believe they charge a scale fee. Walpole's charges, I'm looking at Charlestown. Charlestown charges a $10 scale fee, plus what it costs you to get rid of the stuff. So every time you come across, you got to pay $10 plus what you weigh.
Wow. Anything else right now?
I think I've addressed what
only thing I can. Go ahead, Gary.
Go ahead, Gary.
Just saying, I think I've addressed what Chuck had asked me to address, so I'm willing to answer questions or whatever.
Ready?
Chuck has another item, but Peter, did you have any more pertaining to the pricing?
Well, the only thing I've just wondering is the press release. I mean, as Gary said, we should let people know what we're thinking of doing here, and I have one that's done. If we need to modify it or any way, I can get it in. I think Chuck's got a copy of it. If he needs to do anything modifying, but at least that we'll get it out. We need to get it to the town of Westminster by the 31st or by the end of the month, so they can get into the Westminster Gazette. That's where everybody gets that paper free down there.
I think we have that same press release here unless it's different. I think we're all looking at it.
Yeah,
too.
there's nothing different to it that I put on it. Just it's just telling them that the stickers are available and will be available, et cetera, and
Yep.
and the price for the trash bags. They know there's nothing for
Okay,
the recycling. We're not charging for that yet. So,
okay.
and the food
then
scraps,
Chuck-
I said
Chuck's
we're
got
gonna. I think I put it in there that we were gonna watch it and see if we get an influx after July 1st. That it's we may start to charge after we get a little history on how much of that stuff we're taking in.
Chuck's got another input here. If you're ready, we're ready.
Yeah, the press release response to access stickers are time sensitive, so that needs to go out. I would ask the board to consider the fee structure, holding that for right now, because we are established, some recommendation to establish a recycle center committee. We have done a solicitation. We've had inquiry from our 2 people, and I'd like them to look at that fee structure and scrutinize it and make recommendations for this board to consider and act on. This committee will be a 5-member committee that will meet for a total of 5 weeks, and they will then issue recommendations to this board at its first regular meeting in August. So this is a relatively narrow time window to look at all the operations, all the costs. We'll have the RFP from the recycling. We'll have a good handle on what's going on and be able to give you a set of recommendations to include modification of the fees.
So what was the timing on the press release? No later than?
End of the month, I believe.
Okay. Anything else we need to do right now on this?
Unless you need a copy of it.
Yes.
The other thing, can I speak, or is someone still talking?
Go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing I think I put it in there, is that we need to enforce the use of trash tickets. That's what causes a lot of backup, because people come in and they'll throw their trash bags in there, and then they run over to the cashier to pay for their trash. And if they had the tickets, it'd be easier for them to throw the tickets right in the bucket that we have at the place and move on. It's going to save a lot of time and effort and traffic control down there.
I think there's a lot of things that the committee will hopefully look at as far
Yeah,
as.
I think you're right. I think that's stuff, the operations and the whole mess that's going to go down there. Chuck and I have discussed some things there, so
Yeah.
I'm sure Gary has too.
Excellent. Anything else, Gary? Thank you very much.
One other thing,
Yes, sir.
I know you're tired and you're ready to get going, but I just want to put in a plug for the help that my guys down there that have been working during this whole pandemic thing. Bob Fogg, Eric Davis, Brad Nelson. They've done a great job. They're there every day. They're very attentive and aware of what's going on with the pandemic and making keeping the operation going despite the difficult circumstances. Just want to put a public plug in for them.
Thank you very much, and thank them all as well.
Thank you. That's it.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Yep.
All right, I think we can move on from recycling and move to number 5, finance and human resources. Shannon, would you like to come closer so they can hear you? You okay back there?
You can sit right in your face.
Yeah, you can sit there if you want. Shannon's gonna move a little closer so you guys can hear. Hopefully.
Okay. So I don't have anything significant to note in these financials. We are going to meet with the village president and the select board chair to go over year to date before the end of the year. At this time, I don't have any concerns, but I can try and answer any questions that you guys may have.
I have none at this time. It was June 2nd. I think we're gonna try to get a little in-depth update, right?
Correct, yes.
So we should know where we stand better for the end of the year.
Correct. Peter, Susan, any questions right now? Year to date?
Not right now, no.
Okay,
I'm all
Thank
set, thanks.
thank you.
And please feel free to email me anytime if you have questions after the meeting, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Up in overtime.
I highlighted the town's employees, so I think the only real significant anything was from Chuck and I, which is mine's allocated half to the town, half to the village.
Any questions? Overtime, comp? She highlighted the town employees. That's nice, helpful. Okay, moving on. Personnel policy. This is the final draft, updated, edited version.
It is, may I make up one comment?
Yes,
So the trustees won't be approving this until their June 9th meeting. So if you guys want to take one more stab at it and review it, it's not urgent that you go ahead and approve it this evening. So if
Okay.
you'd like to do it at your first select board meeting in June.
you hear that?
That'd be good.
We have some more time to read it. It's pretty long. There's been some changes, and it looks like I think the changes have, again, this final draft been highlighted. So I'd like to do that. Does anyone have an objection to that?
Nope.
Do it June 1st meeting,
Nope.
is it?
Sounds good to me, actually, if you
No,
think that
let's,
need to be maybe changed here.
Yep, just make your edits and perhaps even could get them beforehand, and then when we show up, we could have another, if there's changes or just typos, but we'll have some more time to look at this. Is that okay, everyone?
Yes.
fine with me.
Susan, you said, okay, great. All right, so that was it. Short and sweet on that. Thank you, Shannon.
You're welcome.
So we can put that, so let's review agenda items for the next meeting, June 2nd, 2020. You can simply write that on there. Chuck, we'd like to finalize personnel rules updated. Where will we be with a recycling committee by then?
We'll have one established.
Have one established? What else?
Everett has a laundry list to include introduction of our interim highway superintendent, Andy, will be here.
And sorry, so we're gonna put the new fire chief from Rockingham on the agenda. We would like to formally introduce him. He came tonight and we missed the opportunity. We're gonna put him on the agenda for next time for folks, formal introduction. The new interim highway superintendent.
Anything else?
Nothing I have right now.
Nothing. Thank you.
Sax,
So the Saxons over
yeah.
looking at,
Maybe we'll get somewhere by then if we reached out to some, the Buckner and see where we can go. Peter, I don't know where we'll be, but we could leave that as a potential item.
Yeah.
That's it for now. You guys have anything else you can think of?
Nope, not off the top of my head.
Still there, Peter?
No, I don't have anything unless I find think of something between now and then, I can get you in plenty of time, or get Chuck, whatever.
Yep. So, we can review the agenda items for the next joint board meeting, which would be June 30th.
We may have the Bells Falls Opera House available to present a new model for doing business. Technically, that is a town asset, but it would be a good forum to conduct in a combined meeting so that our Opera House employees can do their presentation of the changes that they're going to recommend post-pandemic. So when they open up, they are promising to open up with a new model of operations.
Well, if anything else comes up, we'll get a hold of the manager. And not hearing anything from you guys, I think we're okay for now. Need to review and approve orders, bills, and warrants.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Stefan made the motion. Peter, you want to second it?
Yeah, I'll second.
Motion made, seconded to approve orders, bills, and warrants. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Other business, Susan?
I'm all set, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Peter?
Yeah, did you bring up that thing about the MSA that you sent the email out about? And
I didn't,
you
but
and
you
I
could.
talked a little bit more about the stuff they still got at town hall.
I didn't. I was going to, if you'd like to just explain and go ahead. I didn't bring it up, but would you like to?
Well, I think you and I discussed it on the side of the road there this morning, but you had sent out an email that they're pretty much closing up their doors for a while, and they still got that set down there on the stage in the town hall, plus stuff I think downstairs in that room. I think you told me they're storing stuff. I don't know if we want to ask them if there's any action we need to have them to remove that stuff in case they never open.
I think that's a good idea. The announcement yesterday, I don't have it verbatim. I don't know if anybody does. It's I don't want to try it because I don't have it verbatim, but it doesn't look like there's going to be any operations soon. So I think we should get in touch and discuss the stage, especially in anticipation of what Chuck had just said about new operations in the Opera House and anything in the town hall. We need to figure out where we're at with Main Street Arts moving forward with this agreement.
Consider that request. I'll do it.
Okay. Anything else, Peter?
No, I was just running through to see if I could find that in my email here. Help you out a little bit, but I can't.
I got
see
it. If you want to
Sitting
hear
right here right off quick.
the announcement, I have it here. But Ben, anything?
I don't have anything right now, no.
Did you get it, Stefan? I sent it
If I can pull it up, yeah, it'd be
here. So it's
yes.
as of
I got
July.
it here if you want
Yeah, go ahead. Just summarize why they're making that announcement, I think. And what it's a pretty long email. Go ahead.
They're gonna, after July 7th, it says they'll no longer employ any staff and will cease all programming, including theater classes and other events. We'll halt work on our physical space, meaning the building out here. Improvements. Fundraising will also be suspended during their dormancy. There will be minimal use of the MSA building, and the board of directors will be responsible for all necessary facility and financial oversight. Legal organization will remain. That pretty much covers it. That pretty much closing the doors up until they can see the green on the other side, I guess.
Yep, they're calling it a state of dormancy due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And like you said, the rest of it.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep. Nothing, Ben?
No.
I don't have anything. 7?
No, sir. We're good.
All right. We do have an executive session to discuss, and yep, somebody want to make, you gotta,
I don't have the criteria. I
I
can
don't
probably
either.
wing it, but,
go ahead.
all right.
You gotta invite Chuck.
Uh,
I don't know if you two want to call my phone again, probably in a minute.
Okay.
I got the card. What's the session for?
Conditions of employment. or
Conditions of
contractual
employment, contractual.
Appointment or employment evaluation of public officer, is that the one you want?
I believe that would be the.
I would say so, employment, which is,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one I got here, okay. When we're ready, let me know and I can read it off.
go ahead, sir. Ready?
Okay, I move that the board enter executive session to discuss the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee, but the public body must make a final decision to hire or appoint in an opening meeting, and it must explain the reasons for its final decision via 1 VSA subchapter 313, parentheses A, parentheses 3.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded, enter executive session. Did you say invite, Chuck? Sorry. I was fumbling my papers, Peter.
I didn't say to invite Chuck. No, I didn't know what you want to do with that.
We'd like to.
All right, we'll just add that on and invite Mr. Wise. I don't know. We better wait till we get to that point before we call him something else.
So motion been made and seconded and to invite Chuck Wise, acting manager. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, and we will note the time when we come out.
And if
And
there's
we're gonna turn this off and you guys call my phone when you